السلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته. الحمد لله والصلاة والسلام على رسول الله وعلى آله وصحبه ومن والاه وبعد. Any questions from last night? The question is, if somebody has a house or more that he's renting out, does he pay zakah on the value of the rent that he's collecting, or does he pay zakah on the value of the house itself? That's a question. Well, it's supposed to be that the money that went into the purchase of the house is money that the zakah has been paid for. If it is not paid for, then that money has to be zakatable, right? But if it is paid for, then you pay the zakah on the rent you collect every month.
Oh, only on the rent, not the value of the house.
Unless the value of the house went into the house without paying zakah. So let us say I purchased a house for $500,000. If this $500,000 were not zakah was not paid on that, then the zakah has to be paid on that, because it had to be paid before I put it as a price for the house. Okay?
Second question.
Let me repeat your question. You say that you are retired,
Yeah.
and you're getting pension from some country overseas.
Yeah.
And you're asking if you need to pay zakah on the pension you're getting. You pay the zakah on the pension when it was accumulating. Like if you have a saving account while you are working, and your employer is putting similar amount like the 401k, this money is zakatable when it reaches the zakatable level. But if the pension you are getting is out of retirement, they were taking money from your account like they do here. They take money from your income and they put it in Social Security. You have no access to it, you cannot use it until you retire. That's not your money yet. It becomes your money when you retire. So it depends on the retirement system that you're talking about. If the pension is coming from a saving account that you had access to, even with penalty, then you have to pay the zakah if it reaches the zakatable level. Okay? Third question. The question is, when I pay zakah for the jewelry that I have, it is the value of the jewelry that I pay the zakah for.
In the market value right now.
In the market value, yes.
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah, can a person go to Hajj before they pay off a house that they purchased on mortgage that is not finished yet? Or do we consider this mortgage a debt that prevents the person from going to Hajj until he pays it off? No, this is a lifelong loan. It wouldn't bar you from going to Hajj. So if you have the money for the Hajj, you go for the Hajj and you continue to pay your mortgage. Okay? Yes, I will come to you. Alaikum salam. Do you pay taxes on your pension retirement account? So you only pay on what you withdraw, not on the money in the account. What you leave in the account is not touched, right? Of course, when you want to deduct it from the zakah, is this what you're saying?
I'm asking if the amount is the penalty.
The penalty and the taxes and the zakah will come out of your retirement account. You don't take the penalty from the money for the poor. Zakah is the money for the poor, not for the rich. So when you take the money to pay your zakah, this money is the money for the poor, right? So the reason you are withdrawing the money from the account is to pay the right of the poor in your money that you have saved for years and you've never touched it. So you cannot take the tax and or the penalty from the zakah portion of the money that you withdraw. What you need to do is to get the money of the poor to the poor. You and the government and everybody else deal with the rest. I'm not a financial advisor. I can tell you what to do with the money that you owe to the poor. That's a zakah subject. Yes. For cemetery visit, the guidelines are for visiting cemetery. The Prophet ﷺ would pay salam to those in the grave. He would say, Assalamu alaikum dar qawmin mu'minin, nas'alullah lana wa lakum al-maghfirah, Allahumma la tahrimna ajrahum, wa la taftinna ba'dahum, waghfir lana wa lahum, and he would leave. When you make dua for the deceased, make sure that you are not making dua to the deceased. What's the difference between making dua to and making dua for? Am I confusing most of? So okay, let me explain. When I do something for you, you are the aim of my prayer, right? I pray for you, but I pray to Allah. I pray to Allah. So when we pray, we direct our face to the Qibla, not to a statue, not to a person, because the most prevalent mistake you see around the grave visit is people standing around the grave and making dua to the deceased. But they should all be facing the Qibla, wherever this is, and make dua for anyone, the deceased or the whole cemetery. They can do that. But it has to be different. Also, as far as women are concerned, women should not make it a habit to visit the graves of loved ones or anyone on any regular basis. Some people want to do it every week, every month, every 40 days, every Ramadan, every Friday. There is no sunnah to allow this for women. In fact, the hadith of the Prophet ﷺ says, لَعَنَ اللَّهُ زَوَّارَاتِ الْقُبُورِ. Allah would curse the women who make regular, frequent visits to the qubur, to the cemetery. Yes. They can pray collectively. The Prophet ﷺ asked the people around the grave, after burying one of their companions, he said, "Ud'u li akhikum fa innahu al-ana yus'al." Whether they pray together or they pray alone, it's okay. Okay? Who else? Yes. عليكم السلام. الاختلاط؟ Yes. السؤال, the question is about music, a musical instrument, and its effect on fasting. Okay. Music or musical instrument, to be accurate, is a disputed matter among the scholars. They go from all the far right to all the far left. Okay? As far as whether it is halal or haram, they take these two positions. Most of the hadith that came in the prohibition, they came attached with something else, which is foul songs, foul lyrics. Okay? But some scholars have prohibited certain instruments, saying these instruments are not good. Okay? What is the effect of listening to music on fasting? Listening to music does not nullify or break your fast. But they definitely would violate the spirit of fasting. Because Ramadan is a month of dhikr and remembrance of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, to train to become better muttaqi. So if we ignore the spirit and keep the form, we will pass the muster of having fasted, but we're not going to benefit much. Okay? Yes. So the question is, since actions are only to be counted based on intention, and since people who pray for a deceased person are normally surrounding the grave at the time they stand, so they don't intentionally pray to the deceased. Their intention is to pray definitely to Allah. So since intention is pure, then the action should be okay, right? Understood your question? Yeah. There are two conditions for the action to be acceptable to Allah. One is the intention, and the other is to be correct on the basis of the Quran and the Sunnah. So when we said that people, when they pray, they should face the Qibla, it doesn't mean that praying against the Qibla is wrong. But it does mean that if we want to do what we do according to the Sunnah, which is a condition for acceptance, then we have, when we pray, to face the Qibla. Does the dua count as the salah? The word salah means dua, and the word dua means salah. The mother went back home and passed away overseas. Okay. Her daughter went back home.
And can she visit?
Can she visit her mother? Yes, her mother's grave. Yes, she can. Yeah, the hadith did not prohibit women from visiting a deceased person. The hadith prohibits women from making it a regular, frequent habit. If you find a person who passed away, but they did not discover the body until it was a month or 2 months after, how do they wash the body? As they wash the body normally, unless it is totally decomposed, cut in pieces, like Khashoggi. He died in the consulate. So, if the person's body is dismembered, you wash every member of the body as much as you can. Yes. What does Islam say about organ donation? Councils of scholars have researched the topic thoroughly, and they have reached a conclusion. You can donate an organ for which you have a full functioning alternative. A full functioning alternative. And they point to a piece of the liver, because the liver generates itself, or one kidney, because you have another full kidney functioning. Okay? So they said, if you have these types of organs, and two of them are very healthy, you can donate one if necessary. Okay? Some scholars took reservation of this position, and they said, listen, the body is not something you own, so that you can sell or donate or put in the market price. Can do that. So they prohibit all types of donation under all circumstances. The first group answered and said, the Quran said, if you could save a life, it is as if you have saved the life of all humanity. And they say, if this will be as necessary as saving another life, then why not? It is consistent with the Quran. And I believe that this opinion is the most prevalent opinion. Now the question is, could anybody donate parts of his loved one's body after he had died? The answer is no, you could not do that.
Can you
You can authorize the authorities to take parts of your body when you die to benefit somebody else who is alive. الدعاء المستجاب هل هو في أي يوم في رمضان ولا يوم الجمعة؟ الدعاء المستجاب, he's asking the answerable dua for a person who is fasting. As the hadith says, للصائم, you have to make dua, or you want to make dua before iftar or right at the time of iftar, you could make it, and the Prophet says this dua is answerable, which means mustajab. He's asking, is this any day in Ramadan or is this only on Friday? Friday has a hadith by itself. Friday has a hadith by itself that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has an hour of ijabah on Friday. That's any Friday. And the hadith about the fasting person applies any day in Ramadan. Okay? سبحانك اللهم وبحمدك نشهد أن لا إله إلا أنت نستغفرك ونتوب إليك.